Oh, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I've been doing I Ching readings on YouTube, and I've been oh, hang on, I have to close some unused applications. Oh, I didn't really do my housekeeping before I came on here. Um, oh oh my. Yeah, but I haven't really been on here live lately, except for the little like little reels and stuff. I'm enjoying doing those on the Instagram. I love the short things. I think it might be a product of Zen practice and loving the little koans, and the reels lend themselves to little ordinary koans in a nice way. So, one thing I wanted to talk about today, I want to talk about naming desire, but naming is actually such an important part of that. And I changed my name about I guess a little over a year ago, year and a half ago now. Wow, it's been a while. And lately I find people are coming to my inbox in this game of like, gotcha, I know who you really are. And I just wanted to talk about that for a second because it's so interesting to me. Like, what you have of me in your mind is yours. And you can call that whatever you want. That's part of how those memories create your identity. I hold identity very lightly. When I was in my 20s, I was actually severed from my name in a way that was not dissimilar from the way that rape severed me from my body many years later. And so I've had to address my relationship to identity throughout my entire practice and my entire life. And practice has supported that investigation to identity. Like, who am I? Who am I now? Who am I now? And I've really settled into in middle age this real trust in emergence that who I am is constantly emerging out of the ecosystem that I'm embedded and embodied in. So my approach to identity is a little bit different, I think, than some people's. The body, the cells in the body change over every 7 years. So you are literally a different person. And for me, I find a great deal of freedom in that and a great deal of beauty in that. And so that's how I choose to live. So if you have uh, if you have a certain attachment to who I've been, I respect that and I leave you to it. But if you're addressing me, this person in this moment, I ask that you use my name, which is Ray. So thank you. In terms of desire, man, I've been thinking a lot about desire lately. Like I came up against this feeling into what is what is my deepest desire. There's been a lot of flux around here. I had a breakup like a month or so ago, and just feeling into why did that happen and what's unfolded from that, and where does my deepest desire live? Where is that in my body? How does that move through me? And then what's the layer of preferences that lives on top of that desire, that sort of caps that desire in a way that turns it into an ingrown hair that needs to be squeezed and popped so that that hair can be freed to grow, so it's not painful and swollen, that desire is actually able to emerge into the world in a free way, not painfully, but with a great deal of ease. And so I was thinking lately, like, part of that is like, so how do I name desire? What objects do I attach my desire to that turn it inward and keep it from expressing itself in the world? And what are the nouns? What are the nouns on top of that verb that is to desire, that life force that's coming through me, that like that ability to be embedded and embodied in the ecology of erotic emergence? When do I start to require an object for that desire? And how does that limit the expression of desire? And what I came to as different things came up this week that made me really go deeper into some old patterns of like, who who's in my life? Why are they in my life? How have those relationships played out? So much in the same way that I address my own identity, I look at my relationships in a similar way. Like they're always emerging. And to quote Marie Kondo, does this bring joy? Does this relationship still bring joy? Or are there just so many memories of me and this person that this relationship is a relic of an old identity, if that makes sense? And it actually has no place in what I'm becoming. And so as I looked at like, what are the nouns, what are the preferences that I have on top of this desire? So as I peel them away, and it can be things that seem very significant, like, oh, I'll be happy. What I will have joy when I have a baby. I will have a joy when I have this relationship. I will have joy when I have this much money. I will have joy when I win that Olympic gold medal. Right? Like, so it can be, those nouns can run the whole gamut of how we compartmentalize our desire. And as I was stripping those away this week, as I was getting really still and really quiet and being like, okay, what if I unhook my desire from this noun? What if I unhook my desire from this object? What's under that? What's under that? What's under that? And honestly, under all my desire is love, all of it. To be able to love freely, to be able to be seen as I am. And to be able to do that, obviously, I have to be willing to show up in that way without the impediment of any object, without the impediment of any fear, without the impediment of any misplaced longing that gives me a reason to not show up, to not be responsible for who I am today and what I have to do right in front of me. That's freedom. And it feels pretty amazing, to be perfectly honest. It feels, there's nothing freer than being radically responsible for your own life and your own presence and your own expression. And for me, my own willingness to fuck it up. I've fucked it all up so many times. That's how I've kept evolving. That's how my heart has become strong. So I invite people to that process. Part of my name change was receiving the Bodhisattva vows. And when I received those vows, I got a new name. And that's because I got a new compass for my whole life. Those vows include how relieving suffering in the world. How do I relieve suffering? And that's a question I ask myself now every day. Have I created or relieved suffering today? How have I used this day? How have I used this resource? It's a big job. There seems to be a lot of suffering in the world. So how do I personally, from my little coral corner of the world, how do I relieve suffering today? Oh, it starts in this skin. It starts with masses of self-compassion, masses of courage to fail, masses of soft-heartedness, softer by the day, softer by the day. Willing to just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. And not knowing. As they say in Zen, not knowing is most intimate. And relieving suffering is intimate work. I know that people like to think that we're going to do that at some kind of global level. How do we do that at some global level? But I believe that that is intimate work. And that's how I approach it. That's how I honor my vows, is by working intimately with people, which is, by the way, a great segue. Happy full moon, because it is full moon this weekend going into spring equinox. Whew, it's a very fluxy portal time of year. So if you are looking for support just where you're at, support when you want it, where you want it, I found that that is pretty much what people want. I run uh, bigger containers, deeper dives in my fuck suffering groups, but I've created this pocket coaching program that happens via WhatsApp. And I am having a special offer. I'm reintroducing the introductory price of $50 a month for that support, just for this weekend, from full moon to spring equinox. So if you would like that, that's at rayhance.com. And if you scroll down on the homepage, you can find the secret pocket coaching portal. We start with a one-on-one and then switch over to WhatsApp. And I was surprised by this because most of the work that I do with people is somatic. It's body oriented. And I wasn't sure how that would work with this, but it's turned out to work beautifully. And it's really about where you are at and how far you're willing to go, which feels really good. It feels really good to be detached from outcome, for myself, for clients, for the world, frankly. This whole concept of outrage. Yeah, I don't. Rage from out there is not that helpful. How we each show up in the world is far more helpful. Not knowing is most intimate. Oof, it's a big responsibility to love your body and the body of the world. I work with a lot of women, and that first part, love your body so that you may love the body of the world, that's a tough one for a lot of people. We squander a lot of energy hating what's inside our own skin. It's tragic, really, because that's where that's where the seeds of war are planted, and then they spread through the world. A kudzu. So if you're interested in pocket coaching, come to the website. If you're interested in talking to me, call me Ray. If you're interested in living out your true desire, examine how it differentiates from your preferences. That's all I got today. Enjoy. Happy Friday. And happy, happy, happy full moon.